I begin every day with a prayer in these end times. In the thick of things, he helped me read between these thin lines. Now he's setting goals that we gon' never reach. I was able to learn what they gon' never teach. You can't convert a homeless man if you looking to preach first. Before you bring the truth, bring them something to eat first. Either you selling out or you in the cell for 10. It's more about what you melling out, not just your melanin. They say snitches get stitches, but I'm avoiding ditches, cause I'm intelligent. According to the Father, you are gone and your belief is unbelievable, but believe what you want. But as for me and my fam, we gon' serve the Most High, yeah.
We never going out of service. We never going out of service. As for me and my family, we gon' serve the Most High in the low times and even in the highs.
Say you believe in Christ, but don't believe that he's black. But the Bible say that he is. Guess you don't believe in that. Standing still would get you killed, but they couldn't pay us to move. Thousands of Mike Browns, only a few make the news. Once I found the truth, then I got the facts. If they need organs and you black, your blood type will get you snatching. I mean, when this world gon' wake up and realize we the children of Jacob. To show reality check, now keep the pace up. Proof. But as for me and my fam, we gon' serve the Most High, yeah.
We never going out of service. We never going out of service. As for me and my family, we gon' serve the Most High.
Terrible power.
Everyone suffers from police misconduct. Although we deal with our constitutional rights being violated, innocent citizens being arrested, and constant harassment, we sit and do nothing about it. You may be asking, what can I do? Did you know that you may have potentially left hundreds of thousands of dollars floating in the air? Yes, you may have had the rights that you didn't know you have violated. Having your rights violated is more than being abused by the police. Did you know that when you are stopped by police, there is a 75% chance that one of your constitutionally protected rights were violated? The United States Supreme Court have made several rulings making even the smallest of violations by police unconstitutional. Do you know what these violations are? My name is Abaya Israel, and I'm a former police officer and a former sheriff deputy. I want you to download my free ebook and register to take my online video course titled Surviving the Police, so you can learn your constitutionally protected rights. The next time a police officer violates your rights, you will be aware and alert and able to fight back the legal way. Don't be that person who was taken advantage of and you never received compensation because you were unaware. Register for my online video course today, so if you are unjustly targeted by police, you will be compensated. It's time to help put an end to police misconduct. Register today at WeThePeopleUniversity.com.
Shalom Grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Shalom Care. Grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Paraben-free, peace with care. For beard mousse, armpit mousse, or jock mousse, visit shalomcare4u2u.com. Shalom Care.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this platform by individuals, callers, or invited guests are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with the brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation to PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat, shalom. You're now tuning in to Debate Talk for You Radio. I am Gabar Alaha, and this is the Sabbath Meal, episode 44. Today, we're going to be getting into conflations of anti-Semitism. Before I begin, I just want to give all praises to the Most High Yahweh in the authority of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who is commonly called Jesus Christ, and to everyone tuning in now, whether it's live or on the playback, may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. Big shout out to Sal Showtime for allowing us to do our thing here on this platform. You guys see the information scrolling down at the bottom, so make sure you like, share, subscribe, and definitely hit that like button so we can get picked up in the algorithm, and make sure you stay up to date to what goes on here on Debate Talk for You. So once again, Sabbath Meal, episode 44, conflations of anti-Semitism. Now, I had to pray on whether or not I wanted to touch this topic because of what's going on right now. So I prayed about it, and I got a couple of confirmations out of the mouth of two or three. So, with that being said, we're just going to go into this subject. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. One reason is because, of course, as always, when I come on here, I just like to come in and provide the information, try not to stick around for too long, and then just leave out. So I'm not gonna be here for too long as usual, maybe about an hour, and that's it. Another reason is I just don't want to get. Let me not say that. let me just go into the information. Let me just go into the information. Now I'm gonna try to be as tactful as I can be, much like last week with the subject that I dealt with. So same thing. I'm gonna try to be as tactful as I can be, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm gonna be as tactful as I can be. I'm going to try to be professional, but I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because truth is truth. Okay. So with that being said, so here's the start of all this. So let's jump right into it. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Just going to jump right into it. All right. Okay. So real quick, just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Emmanuel Mathis. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right. So now here's where the inspiration for this is coming from. So this is the most recent thing that has happened concerning this. All right, so Whoopi Goldberg's baffling claim forced many to ask tough questions about race and identity in the U.S. All right, this is coming from CNN.com. All right, so I'm gonna switch over real quick so I can read it over here for you guys. See if I can I make this bigger? Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can make this bigger for y'all. Let me zoom in on it. Scroll down. Guys, yeah, that should be good right there. Okay, so Whoopi Goldberg's baffling claim forced many to ask tough questions about race and identity in the U.S. Okay, so now it says Whoopi Goldberg's claim earlier this week that the Holocaust wasn't about race was baffling and shocking. An apology followed along with the 2-week suspension, but the controversy has forced deeper questions about the history and evolution of race and identity in the U.S. Goldberg made her comments during a conversation about a Tennessee school board that removed Art Spiegelman's Pulitzer Prize winning graphic novel series Moss about the horrors and trauma of the Holocaust because of alleged concerns about tough, objectionable language and nudity. Swiftly, various groups pointed out as false the actor and comedian's assertion that the genocide of 6 million Jews had nothing to do with race. Okay, you guys see that picture here. All right, so this is from this is from the book Moss. All right, this is what's actually in the book here. Okay, so this is what this all came about. All right, it all came about this book that was as you see up here, how it was controversial. It was a controversial book about whether it should be taught in schools, whether it should be used in schools. Okay, so that's how this conversation even came up and why she even made the statement that she made. It had all to do with this book. All right, so now it goes on to say racism was central to Nazi ideology. Jews were not defined by religion but by race. Nazi racist beliefs fueled genocide and mass murder. The U.S. Holocaust Museum wrote in an apparent subtweet. The Auschwitz Memorial Twitter account directed Goldberg to a 7-chapter online course about the Holocaust. To better contextualize the events of the past week, I spoke with Emily Tamkin, who's a senior editor at the New Statesman and the author of 2 books, 2020's The Influence of Soros, Politics, Power, and the Struggle for an Open Society, and the forthcoming Bad Jews, A History of American Jewish Politics and Identities. The following conversation has been lightly edited for length and clarity. All right, so now here's the conversation. It says, when you heard Whoopi Goldberg's comments, what were your thoughts? My first reaction was that I think that she's probably one of many people, specifically one of many Americans who thinks this. And I say that because I think the U.S. has a very specific conception of race and racism. And people can, without ill intention, assume that the construct is held across space and time. That because this is what racism has always meant in the U.S., it's necessarily been understood in the same way elsewhere. But while racism is real and it has real implications for people, like race is shaped around society and by society. Slakia. I think that it's most important to recognize that her comments were coming from a place of ignorance, not hatred. That distinction matters, and I hope we can keep it in mind in these discussions. Okay. So now it goes on and says, why do many Americans appear to struggle to understand the relationship between anti-Semitism and racism? Does it have anything to do with the history of race here? So the answer to that is, if you go back to 1790 Naturalization Act, the criterion for the naturalizing as a U.S. citizen was whiteness. I think that some people think that Jews became white in the post-war period, and as we moved into the suburbs and through the GI Bill, many American Jews did move into what we think of as mainstream American suburban life at that time. But most American Jews for most of American society have been legally coded as white. All right, so let me pause real quick. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Kashmir Gatekeepers Network. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right, now let me continue reading. It says, now there were exceptions. For example, there was a stipulation in the state of Maryland's Constitution until 1826 that said that Jews, let me flip back over here since I can see it. That said that, where am I at? Let me read that over. Now, there were expectations, for example, there was a stipulation in the state of Maryland's Constitution until 1826 that said that Jews cannot hold public office. And there were instances of anti-Semitism throughout that period, particularly at the turn of the century, when more and more Jews from Eastern Europe started coming over, and there was an influx of immigrants. But most American Jews have enjoyed whiteness under the law. Okay. If you look at my great-grandparents under the census around the turn of the century, the early 1900s, they were recorded as white. Also, around that same time, there were many more Jewish immigrants coming in. And that was actually an issue because the status of American Jews as white was challenged, because here came people who were far greater in number and further culturally removed, and they thought of themselves as ethnically distant. And the US didn't really have a framework to process them, because it thought in terms of black and white. Now, interestingly, go back up here. Where am I at? Here we go. Now, interestingly, you had Jewish thinkers and some communal leaders that at that time who were very intentional about defending Jews as whites. Why? Because they understood that in the US, whiteness brings with it rights and privileges. That remained true, by the way, even though in the 20s, immigration legislation was passed that restricted immigration from Eastern and Southern Europe. That's the US context. You had this one understanding of racism really shaped around white and black, and people, many of whom came from somewhere else, was where the thinking was different. We're being slotted into that. Meanwhile, an ocean away, you had Nazi Germany, where a construction was just different, where the construction was just different, where Adolf Hitler was writing very specifically about the German race and the necessity of racial purity and the superiority of Aryan blood. And by the way, it wasn't only Jews whom Hitler thought or who thought of as racially distinct. He also drew a distinction between Germans and Slavs. We might look at all of that and say they're all white people. But again, it was a different context. So the understanding of race was different. Recent discussions have raised the question of the whiteness of Jews. What I'd say to that is, one, not all Jews are white, but also in my day to day in the US, I go about as a white woman. If we were in Europe in the early 20th century, I would have been understood differently. All right, I'm gonna pause real quick. So the link is in the chat, you guys. This is definitely an open discussion, so you guys can come on in at any moment. I put the link in the chat before I even started this, so that way you guys can come on in and join this, because this is an open discussion. So please feel free to click on that link and come on in and join the discussion. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue on. All right, so it says the Tennessee School District's decision to pull Art Spiegelman's Moss exists in the same environment in which laws are empowering school districts across the country to ban a variety of books related to identity and histories of oppression. What do you make of all this? I think that it's really important that the ban of this book is considered within this broader context. You have Moss being banned. You have the report of South Lake, Texas, where a school leader said, Salakia, a superintendent later apologized that if you teach about the Holocaust, then you also need to teach opposing views, which I don't even know what that means. You have Toni Morrison's work being banned. You have LGBTQ books being challenged. To me, what stands out is that you have school board members and legislators and parents saying, well, we just don't want our kids hearing this language at a young age. And we want our kids to be proud of the US, to be proud of their history. All of this made me remember when I was around 9 years old, somebody drew a swastika on a bathroom stall at my school. I'm sure that my parents didn't want me to encounter that when I was 9. I'm sure that your parents would have liked for you to encounter racism later in life than you did. I'm sure that the children who are working through their sexuality or whose parents are members of the LGBTQ community have questions and would like to have access to material. I'm not equating being Jewish in the US with being black in the US or with being gay in the US. I'm saying that there's so little regard for anything that challenges the feelings of white Christian straight America, and so little regard for the feelings of any other parents or children. I don't think that's conducive to educating kids, and it's certainly not conducive to teaching history, because what this discussion really gets at is the fact that there are complicated, messy issues, and that history is nuanced, but that learning is what will help us grapple with the world around us today. All right. And I believe that is the end of it. Okay. So let's pause there for a second. Let me stop that. Okay. So conflations of anti-Semitism. Now, when you read in what I just read in this article, okay, at the end of it, this person is saying, well, I'm not saying that, white Jewishness is the same as, being in the LGBTQ community and, or being black. Okay. So this person is mindful to not conflate being Jewish, with those different aspects. Okay. Now, here's where the issue comes in. So when when Whoopi Goldberg said what she said, yes, it what I know a lot of people are saying that, well, I mean, like, it wasn't about race. I mean, it was white people against white people. Yes, it was essentially. I mean, it was Caucasians against Caucasians. Okay. There are different classes of Caucasians, just like how there's different classes and different sects of so-called black people. Okay. Just like how so-called black Americans don't necessarily associate themselves with Africans that are actually over in Africa. Okay. There's a distinct between the two. Okay. Even us in this Israelite community, we separate ourselves from what we call Hamites, even though they have dark skin as well. Okay. We would still consider them a different race of people. Okay. So, but to conflate what Whoopi Goldberg said as anti-Semitism is propaganda. I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's propaganda. Okay. And I'm gonna go into a few other articles when celebrities dealt with being called anti-Semitic, and you're gonna see the conflations. Okay. But before that, we're gonna just get some little background on what Semitic actually means and what anti-Semitism means, and so on and so forth. Right. We're gonna get some definitions on that. All right. So now, oh, where's my mouse? Okay. So now let me share this next screen with you guys. Okay. This is here. So let me go to here. All right. Because in order to be anti-Semitic, that means you're speaking against something that's Semitic. Okay. So now this is what Semitic means according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Okay. And let me make it bigger for you guys so you guys can see it. Give me a second. Let me just zoom in on it. Okay. So I'm gonna zoom in on this now. All right. So now Semitic, it's an adjective. And it says of relating to or constituting a subfamily of Afro-Asiatic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and Amharic. Okay. Now the next definition says of relating to or the characteristic of the Semites, and 3 is Jewish. Okay. So we see the first definition, it's not talking about the Jewish people. It says Afro-Asiatic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and Amharic. Okay. So to be Semitic would mean that it would be in relation to someone who's of the Hebrew language, who speaks the Hebrew language, Aramaic language, the Arabic language, or the Amharic language. Okay. Now, I have no quarrel with, if you want to say if a person speaks Hebrew, then that must mean that they're of the Hebrew race or whatever. I have no problem with that because that is a fact. Okay. But you also have people who can speak Hebrew who may not necessarily be of the Hebrew race. Okay. Because again, it is a language. Okay. But the language is an identifying marker of a certain group of people. Okay. Now, when we come down to the other definitions of this, let me come down. All right. So it says the second one right here, which is a noun, it says any or all of the Semitic languages. Okay. So we see that primarily Semitic is dealing with language. It's not dealing with race. It's actually dealing with language by definition. It's not dealing with race at all. Okay. So again, that's why I say this conflation of anti-Semitism, when people speak on certain things, they need to saying the word anti-Semitic is a trigger word. Okay. It's a trigger word that gets thrown around whenever someone has a conversation about Jewish people and If they don't like something, oh, it's anti-Semitic. As soon as something is said that they don't like, or as soon as you speak on the Holocaust in a way that they don't deem appropriate, it's called anti-Semitic. But they're using the word wrong. Definitively, they're using it wrong. The word is in relation to language more so than race. It's in relation to language more so than race. Okay. Now I'm going to keep going down. Now check this out. First known use of Semitic, adjective, 1800, in the meaning defined at sense 1. All right. Which means again in the 1800s when this word was first introduced into the English language, it meant it was referring to languages, primarily languages of that class, which would be Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and Amharic. All right. Again, it's not primarily dealing with race. All right. And as a noun, it was used in 1831. It was first used in 1831. Okay. So this word Semitic is actually not that old of a word. It's not that old of a word. Okay. Now the history and etymology for Semitic, it's an adjective, it's German, okay, and it's Semitish from Semit or Semite, probably from New Latin Semita, from late Latin sem or shem. Okay, so now they're relating this back to Shem. Okay, to be Semitic means to be Shemitic. Okay, now these 4 languages that is discussed above do come out of the lineage of Shem. Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and Amharic are Shemitic languages. Okay, because out of Shem comes the Hebrews, the Arabs, the people who use Aramaic, all right, which would be Syrians, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these languages do come out of Shemitic people. Okay, so to be anti-Semitic means to speak against the language that comes from these people. All right. So again, this Semitic is dealing with language. So if you're going to say anti-Semitic, use it properly. You got to use it properly. It's dealing with language. It's not necessarily dealing with race. Now, as far as Whoopi Goldberg, what she said, it was not about race. Okay. And in essence, she is correct because we're dealing with 2 different classes of, because we're dealing with the same race, but they're just different classes of the same race. Okay. But in their culture, they may split that up, much like how we split that up, to have us separated from, so-called Africans and so on and so forth. Okay. So distinctions are made. Okay. Distinctions are made. And yes, she wasn't aware of those facts. She wasn't all the way aware of that. Okay. She did speak out of some ignorance. Okay. But to conflate it to say it's anti-Semitic is just not accurate. Okay. It's just not accurate according to definition. Again, I'm not going to get emotional about this. I'm just going to deal with the scholarship. Okay. Now I've been on Clubhouse pretty much all week because I wanted to hear what people had to say about this. So I've been on Clubhouse and I've been in the rooms, and the Jewish people are getting very emotional, and they won't allow people from our side to speak on it. They get emotional and then they just boot you off the stage, and then they get you blocked. They get your account clipped or deactivated or whatever. Okay, so that's pretty much what's been going on. They don't want to deal with the scholarship. They don't actually want to deal with the information as it has been presented. Okay, we just gonna deal with the scholarship because let's take our feelings out and let's just deal with what it actually is, how it's documented. Okay, that's how we get to the bottom of the truth. We're just gonna deal with what the truth is. Okay, now shout out to Marlo, man, because ever since he came on, man, and he dropped that thing on truth, that's really been sticking with me. So we got to deal with the facts. We got to deal with the truth. Okay. This is what Semitic means. So to be anti-Semitic, it means to go against the language of the people, not, it doesn't mean you're racist. Okay. That's just, anyway, so let's come back over here now. Let me stop this real quick. Okay, so where are we going to go here? Okay, so now let's go and look at some of the other celebrities within the last couple of years that were being called anti-Semitic. We're going to revisit some of this real quick. Okay, first we're going to go to when this happened to Let's deal with Nick Cannon. We're gonna deal with him first. Okay. So let's deal with Nick Cannon first. All right. So let me zoom in on this for you guys real quick so you guys can see it. Okay. All right, so let's scroll down. Let's see how it's looking. I can probably make it a little bit bigger. Here we go. All right. So all right, Nick Cannon seeks growth. Nick Cannon seeks growth from his past anti-Semitic comments. It's about council culture, not cancel culture, but council culture. Okay. So, all right, it says Nick Cannon is addressing his past anti-Semitic comments, saying he is not seeking forgiveness and wants to be on the right side of history. In an interview Tuesday with ABC anchor Lindsay Davis on Soul of a Nation, Cannon opened up about the comments made during a podcast episode last summer that led to his temporary firing from Viacom and losing his show. Okay. Where am I at? And losing his show while and out. I'm not seeking forgiveness. I'm seeking for growth, he said. It says last July, Cannon had a controversial discussion on his Cannon's Class podcast with Professor Griffin. During the discussion, Cannon promoted anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and praised Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. Okay. So now, all right, let me answer this question real quick. He says, it says, Gabar, do you believe that the Edomites are Semitic? Yes, they are Semitic just as much as we are. I mean, they come out of Shem. Esau comes out of Shem, just like Jacob. I mean, they're twin brothers. I mean, if we're going to be biblically and contextually honest and have biblical integrity, yes, that is correct. They were Semitic people, just like we are. Okay. But let me continue on. All right. So now, for those of you who aren't aware of this, as far as the timeline is concerned, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the Nick Cannon situation because it was spoken on a lot. But for those of you who aren't aware of how this transpired, when they fired him from Viacom and they pulled him from Wild 'N Out, and and he was getting all this backlash, the video that he did, because okay, now so this happened whenever after COVID hit. This is when this went down. The video in question aired like a year or so prior, though. It aired like a year or so prior. So it wasn't even like a new video that he came out with. This was old. Okay. So for whatever reason, they waited around the time of the whole George Floyd situation and all these things that was going on. They waited until around that time to then say, oh, Nick Cannon, you're being anti-Semitic. They had all that time to do it. But yet they came out and said that he was being anti-Semitic. Okay. Now, when you go back, I don't know if you can find that clip now. Somebody might have it, on YouTube somewhere. But when you go back and you watch what Nick Cannon and Professor Griff were dialoguing about, no, it was not anti-Semitic. No, not according to definition. It was not anti-Semitic. Okay, because again, to be a Semite primarily means to deal with the language. Okay, that's what it primarily deals with in definition. When you are saying someone is Semitic, okay, it's primarily dealing with language, not race. Okay, so no, Nick Cannon was not anti-Semitic. Okay, but again, they've taken this word and they've conflated it with things that they just don't deem is appropriate. That's what has happened. They've taken a word, they've added anti in front of it to say you're anti-Semitic, and then they begin to conflate it whenever people speak on certain things regarding history, whether or not these so-called Jewish people are the actual Jews, and so on and so forth. They take all of that and they put it all in one bag and they say that's anti-Semitic. All of that is anti-Semitic. Okay. When being Semitic primarily deals with language. Okay. Primarily deals with language. Let me continue on. Let me continue scrolling down. Okay. All right. So it says Viacom immediately fired Cannon and condemned his remarks, saying it denounces all forms of anti-Semitism. Yeah, because there's so many forms of it that's been conflated into the definition. Okay. Cannon initially refused to apologize and demanded ownership of his Viacom CBS owned show Wildin' Out. 2 days later, Cannon apologized on Twitter. I mean, Nick Cannon, he shouldn't have apologized. All right, because we're going to go to another celebrity who has never apologized whenever they try to say he was being anti-Semitic. Okay, we're going to go to another celebrity after this. Okay, and it's gonna shock some of you who it is. Okay, because I was actually kind of taken back, but I was like, oh wow, okay, he stands his ground. Okay, so now let me continue on. It says, several months later, Cannon says he's still learning. I hurt people. I'm going to lean into it. I want to understand why I hurt you. What did I say? What are these tropes? Educate me, he said Tuesday. Cannon's way of leaning into it has been inviting rabbis and Jewish leaders onto the same radio show where he originally made the anti-Semitic comments. One rabbi he invited, Rabbi Abraham Cooper, immediately spoke out against Cannon after the controversy. In a tweet, he wrote that the interview was for anyone seeking a PhD in Jew hatred. Since then, the two have made amends and have had conversations to educate the Masked Singer host. All right, and I believe that's the end. Oh, okay. There's more. So when you go back, for those of you who aren't aware of when Nick Cannon had that had this Jewish rabbi on there, I mean the Jewish rabbi, man, when you guys have to go back and watch that if it's still available, because when you watch it, what you begin to see is it's reverse racism. It's reverse racism. All right. This Jewish rabbi goes on there is arrogant and it's cocky, and the way he just speaks, like the way he speaks is like it's very condescending. It's very condescending. Okay. Especially to us, towards us, it's very condescending. Okay. And so yeah, go back and watch that if you guys can find it. I don't know if it's still up on YouTube anywhere, but make sure you guys go back and watch it if you have it. Okay. So now let me continue on. It says, it's not about cancel culture, it's about counsel culture. Cannon told Davis, my journey is not going to stop whether the person watching this forgives me or not. I'm still going to hopefully do this process and be on the right side of history. I mean, Nick Cannon, man, but you got to realize that they played you, bro. They played you. They played you, man. They played you on your own ignorance. You were ignorant to the facts. All right. You spoke some facts originally with Professor Griff. And then when the pressure was on, you didn't stick to your guns. Okay. You did not stick to your guns. Again, you got to know the facts, because then if you know the facts, you don't have to apologize for anything because you know what the truth is. You do not have to apologize. Okay. So, talking about you on the right side of history. Nah, bro, they got you on the wrong side of history. Okay. Viacom has restored their contract with Cannon in February, and the company announced the VH1 sketch comedy series Wildin' Out will resume production with Cannon as host. In a statement to USA Today, February 5th, MTV Entertainment Group, it says MTV Entertainment Group said Cannon has taken responsibility for his comments and worked to educate himself through conversations with Jewish leaders. Right? It says Cannon has been in business with Viacom since 1998, including stints on Nickelodeon's All That and the Nick Cannon Show. While it now has aired on Viacom and VH1, on Viacom's MTV and VH1 since 2005. Okay, and I believe that's the end of that. All right, so now we see there's a lot of conflations that happen. This is why we gotta, when they start spewing these rhetoric out, we gotta go back and vet what they're saying. We gotta go back and vet it. Okay, and this is why, again, I try to stick to the mainstream sources because they can't argue against that stuff. I mean, people argue scholarship all the time, and that's fine. You know, that's what dialogue and debate is about. You know what I'm saying? It's it's about being able to vet the information, scrutinizing it, so that way we can get to the facts or the truth. Okay, but they're conflating things that they deem inappropriate with anti-Semitism, when anti-Semitism primarily deals with going against the language that is spoken, because to be Semitic means to speak one of these languages. Okay. All right, so Emmanuel Mathis says, are the Jewish community labeled as a people with at least some kind of respect? And if yes, then few little of years they suffered has no comparison to what happens to Black Americans. Okay, so I'm gonna deal with that a little bit as well. I actually have this book. I'm gonna be sharing it in just a moment. I'm gonna just read a couple of things from it, and I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to make the judgment on it. Okay, as far as what you think it means. So, let's continue on. Let me stop this one here. And then let's go to now. Check this out, y'all. So now this is from 2013. I actually didn't know about this. I actually did not know about this. All right, 2013, right here. Here we go. Kanye West. So this is from the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. So they posted this in 2013. Let me make it bigger for you guys real quick. Let me zoom in on it. Okay, make sure you guys can see it pretty good. All right, cool. All right, so now let's deal with this. Scroll back up. It says Kanye West says Black people don't have connections like Jews, fueling classic anti-Semitic stereotype. So now, before I even read this, this is a fact. It's the truth. We don't have connections like Jewish people. So-called Black people do not have connections like Jewish people. I mean, that's a fact. We don't. Okay, in today's time, we don't. All right, but again, they conflated it to classic anti-Semitic stereotype. It's a classic anti-Semitic stereotype. All right, New York, December 2nd, 2013. The Anti-Defamation League denounced as classic anti-Semitism remarks by the rapper Kanye West, who in a radio interview last week attempted to explain President Obama's inability to gain momentum on his policy priorities in Washington, D.C., with the outrageous statement that Black people don't have the same level of connections as Jewish people. If the comments are true as reported, this is classic anti-Semitism, said Abraham H. Foxman, ADL National Director. There he goes again, that old age canard that Jews are all powerful and control the levers of power in government. As a celebrity with a wide following, Kanye West should know better. Yeah. Salakia. We hope that he will take responsibility for his words and understand why they are so offensive and apologize to those he has offended. Let me continue on. Mr. West reportedly made the statements during an interview on New York City's hip hop and R&B radio station Power 105.1, Power 105.1 FM. All right, so I believe he was on the Breakfast Club whenever he made these statements. Because what Power 105.1, that's where the Breakfast Club is at, with Charlemagne, Angela Yee, and DJ Envy. Okay. The comments came to light after the Israeli daily newspaper Haaretz printed them on Friday. All right. According to reports, Mr. West remarked during an interview, "Man, let me tell you about George Bush and oil money and Obama and no money. People who say Obama can't make these moves or he's not executing, that's because he ain't got those connections. Black people don't have the same level of connections as Jewish people. Black people don't have the same connection as oil people." Okay. So, and there you have it with that. So they conflated Kanye West saying that Jews have connections to anti-Semitism. So basically, they get offended when you tell them that you guys are powerful. They get offended when they say you guys are powerful, and then they conflate it with anti-Semitism. They conflate it with anti-Semitism. Okay. That's what they do. So you can't even speak the truth. If it's a fact and if it's the truth, if they get offended, they're going to be like, you're anti-Semitic, and they're going to tear it down. And they're going to try to pull any value out of what is actually the truth. They're going to try to pull the value out of it by running this anti-Semitic campaign, which is propaganda. That's why I'm saying these are conflations of anti-Semitism. This is not actually anti-Semitism. Okay. Again, it's not anti-Semitism. So Now, when we go to the next article, check this out, y'all. So when we go to the next article, so this one was more recent. Okay, and I actually had brought this out in one of my current event Sabbath meal shows. Okay, so we're just going to revisit this real quick. All right, so now this is more recent. Whenever Kanye West went back on Drink Champs. Okay, this is just a little review again for what happened. All right, so it says Kanye West says that. Let me get rid of this real quick. All right, so it says Kanye West says that Jewish people kill each other in business during interview. So he says in a newly, let me make it a little bigger for you guys. All right, maybe one more. Okay, now that's a little too big. All right, so it says in a newly released interview that took place on the podcast Drink Champs, musician Kanye West has said that Jewish people kill each other in business. Towards the end of the interview, Mr. West spoke on the issue of Black mobility within society and said, I'm a community builder, but the people that have in the past been in a position of power are going to try to separate Jay-Z and Dame Dash, separate my mom and my dad, separate me and Virgil Abloh. You see a pattern? That makes it impossible for Black Wall Street. I thought of our community growing. When we not forced to make the choice of whether or not we can afford to have a child, when we're not forced to say, I'm gonna have to kill this N-word because he said this or that. You know, you never hear about Jewish crime. You know, they kill each other in business in a different kind of way, but not actually physically taking a life. According to the International Defamation of Anti-Semitism, making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the myth as such, or the power of Jews as collective, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions is an example of anti-Semitism. No, it is not. Man, this is not an example of anti-Semitism. Again, we got to deal with the definition. Let me pull this up again because again, they're conflating it. This is a conflation. Okay. And we need to be aware of how they do this. Okay. So we're going to pull up what Semitic means. Semitic, of relating to or constituting a subfamily of the Afro-Asiatic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and Amharic. Okay. So again, to be Semitic refers to the language. Primarily, it refers to the language, not the race, the language. Okay. And there's 4 different languages. So Kanye West is simply saying, well, Jews kill each other in business. I mean, they do that. I mean, the business world is competitive. So yeah, you're going to try to take out the competition. That goes without saying. That's business. That goes without saying. So yes, he was correct in what he said. And I'm glad he hasn't apologized for anything because it's not anti-Semitism. This is not anti-Semitism. What Whoopi Goldberg said was not anti-Semitism. It was a simple statement that she made in ignorance, you know, without knowing the different classifications of how they view race amongst their culture. Yeah. But in essence, I mean, they were all white people. Hitler was a so-called white person. I mean, the Jews were so-called white people. It is what it is. Okay. So no, that's anti-Semitic. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You guys, again, it's the conflations. And the reason why we got to bring this out is because they're going to continue to do this. The more they already deemed so-called Black Hebrew Israelites, because that's what they like to call us, Black Hebrew Israelites, as anti-Semitic, because we claim that we're the people when they're not. Okay, we make claim to it while denouncing them. Okay, I guess they can take that as being anti-Semitic. I guess they can take that. I guess they can take it as that, you know, if they choose to do so. But we dealing with truth now. Okay, so I wanna let me stop this screen share real quick. Let me stop it. So now, years ago, whenever I was listening to Actually, let me see if I can find that real quick. Let me see if I can pull that up. There are some lyrics to a song that Nas put out. Okay, Nas is one of the few rappers that I still listen to, even though I'm in the truth. He's one of the few rappers that I will still listen to. Okay. Uh okay, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. I'm trying to pull up the lyrics so that way you guys can read it. Hang on 1 second, y'all. Bear with me, y'all. I'm just trying to find it. I know it's on. Let me see. Here it is. Okay, so all right, lyric find. Okay, now let me go ahead and share this screen with you guys. All right, appreciate y'all for being patient with me. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna share this. All right, let me zoom in. Let me zoom on it for you guys. All right, so this is the song Back When. It's a song by Nas. All right, and I'm gonna show you what he says. Okay, now y'all gotta forgive if here it is right here. All right, so it says right here. I'm gonna highlight this part. All right, let me highlight. Oh man, so all right, let me. Here it is right here. Boom. Man, I'm trying to make sure that it's only that part that's highlighted. There we go. All right, so it says to blow away myths that's a hindrance to all of you. You blame your own shortage on section, race, the mafia, homosexuals, and all the Jews. It's hogwash point of views, stereotypical, anti-Semitic, like the foul words Gibson spew. Okay, so now what Nas did, he reversed it. Okay, now for those of you who don't remember, in 2009, Mel Gibson was caught on record spewing out racial comments towards so-called black people. Okay, he was caught doing that. So, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna find that article for you guys. Let me pull that up. All right, because he, but Nas said, "Hey, that's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic." He flipped the script. He flipped the script. So, let me find this article. But I say that to say this: if on that side they're gonna say, well, anytime you say this, and this, that's anti-Semitic. Well, we're gonna be like, well, anytime you call us the N-word, anytime you talk about slavery, anytime you say that we're at the bottom and we don't have anything, even though I mean, like, we should be, you guys should be anti-Semitic. Just flip it on them because it's what they're doing. I mean, if they're gonna conflate it, we might as well do the same thing, and that's what Nas did. That's what Nas did. Okay. To blow away myths, that's a hindrance to all of you. Because again, the word Semite is referring to languages. It's not necessarily or primarily referring to race. Okay. Once again, y'all, the link is in the chat. I'll send it out again. Again, this is an open discussion. If you guys want to come in and share anything, because I know some of y'all may have been on Clubhouse and y'all was in some of these rooms where these things were being discussed. And so this is a safe space for us as Israelites. All right. We're not going to let the other side come in and tear us down. This is a safe space for us. Okay. So if you want to come in and join the discussion, please feel free to do so. Just keep it clean, just no foul language, no disrespect, no name calling. Let's try to keep it to the information as I'm trying to do here. All right. So, but you guys are more than welcome to join this discussion and provide any feedback, any additional information. All right. So, so now let me find this real quick. Let me find this. All right. Let me shrink this back down. I can go find it. Reset. So, all right, Mel Gibson. Gonna be an old article, y'all. Okay, hold on. Here it is. Here it is right here. Okay. So what do you mean the videos either not unavailable or not supported in this browser? Okay, I gotta go find another one. All right. Let's do this one. Let me read through it. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is right here. All right, let me pull this one up. Let me pull up this. So remember, Nas said that Mel Gibson was anti-Semitic. All right, so he flipped it and did his own conflation. Right, he did his own conflation. So let me share this real quick. Mel Gibson's. Here we go. All right, this is from ABC again. This mainstream source. What is called the mainstream source is not satirical. You can find this on abcnews.com. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on it. All right, so it says report Mel Gibson's racial slur, latest outrageous outburst. Okay, remember, so this is from 2010. Salaki, I said 2009, but it was actually 2010. Okay, so it says Mel Gibson is reportedly at it again. The Oscar-winning director and actor who caused a media storm 4 years ago over an alcohol-fueled anti-Semitic rant is again under fire for reportedly using a racial slur during an argument with his former girlfriend. On Thursday, website radaronline.com published transcript excerpts from the site said came from the audio tape of Gibson telling his ex, Oksana Grigorieva, with whom he's battling in court over custody of their infant daughter, Salakia, that the way she is dressed might make her look like a pig in heat. Then check this out. If you, I'm going to highlight this. This is what he said. If you get raped by a pack of N-words, plural, it will be your fault. Gibson reportedly shouted at Grigorieva using a deeply offensive expression for African Americans. Now, Nas said that this was anti-Semitic. Nas said this is anti-Semitic. So understand that some people know the game and they know how to flip it. And that's what Nas did. He took it as an opportunity to flip it back on him. Okay. He used it as an opportunity to flip it back on him. Okay. The same conflations that they use for them, he flipped it right back on them. Okay. So again, this is why I say, I'm like, well, every time you guys use the N-word, you guys say this, you gotta do that. Yeah, that's anti-Semitic. Just flip it back on them. Because if we claim that we're Semitic and that we're the people and that we're the true Israelites, if we're gonna make this claim, we gotta know how to fight this enemy. Okay. And until Yahweh Shai cracks the sky, I mean, and until we are empowered to actually go to war and do those things, if we're deemed worthy to be placed in the Kohal or the army of the Most High, when that time comes, in the meantime, this is what we gotta do. We gotta bring out the facts. We can't get emotional. Let's bring out the facts. But when we bring out the facts and we stick to the information, this is what they got to battle with. They got to battle with this. Okay. Let them get emotional because then it shows their true character. Let them get emotional. Okay. This is a war. This is a fight. This is a battle. Okay. It's a battle for the rightful position as being the Most High's chosen people. Okay. Which was taken from us due to our disobedience to the Most High and breaking his commandments. And this has been given over to another people. Okay. But as the Most High is waking us up and he's bringing us back, okay, we got to understand the obstacle courses that lie ahead. This being one of them, the conflations of anti-Semitism. So anytime we come out and we say we're the people, they're going to say it's anti-Semitic. They are going to say that. We need to be aware of it. Well, educate yourself on what anti-Semitism, what it actually is, definitively, so that way you can combat. Okay, with scholarship, with information, not with your feelings, not with your emotions. All right. Now, So we have that. So we're about an hour in. So now I want to do this last thing. Let me turn around real quick. So I couldn't find the PDF on this. So y'all gotta forgive me. So I'm just gonna read out of it. But this is the book that I'm gonna read out of. All right, Hybrid Hate. So I'm actually still reading this book. I'm not done. So as you see, the bookmark is I actually got two bookmarks in it. But the bookmark that you guys see is the page I'm gonna be quoting from. Then I got the other bookmark behind it where I'm actually left off at. Okay, so now I'm gonna read from this book, Hybrid Hate by Tudor Parfit. And as you see, the subtitle says what? Conflations of Anti-Semitism and Anti-Black Racism from the Renaissance to the Third Reich. All right. So now I'm just going to read a couple of lines from the book. Okay. All right. So let me see. I had marked this page and then in what paragraph was it? Okay, so here we go. So this is page 13, and I'm just going to read this one paragraph. All right, so it says, an opponent of slavery and colonial arrogance, Grenfell wrote an explosive book, The Negroes and Indians Advocate, which explained that slave owners eager to assert that Africans were outside the family of man were very taken with Perrier's idea, which they preferred to the older slur connecting blacks with the curse of Ham. The pre-Adamite whimsy he wrote, chronically, is preferred above the curse. The slave owners preferred the doctrine of pre-Adamism according to him, because it was exceedingly useful to undermine the Bible and religion, and because they considered it invincible. Okay, so this curse of Ham thing, we know where it comes from. And when they conflate us with the curse of Ham, okay, so they do a lot of conflations. Okay, so what they have done is they have separated so-called black people from being from Adam. They've separated them from being from Adam because in this book, what is also spoken about, I'm trying to find it real quick. I want to find it because it talks about how they view Jews are descendants from Adam. That's what they say. So they say that, if you are from Adam, then you were considered a Jew. Okay. Here it is right here, page 11. It says, this was all very well, but to propose that Adam was the biological father, not of humankind, but only of the Jews, created a major theological problem. Orthodox Christian doctrine from the time of Augustine had maintained that original sin was transmitted biologically by Adam to the whole of humankind. LaPierre argued that sin as well as technology must have existed before Adam. And if Adam transmitted sin biologically, it was only to the Jews. Gentiles acquired biologically transmitted sin from pre-Adamic men and women. Okay, so now I know that now, of course, within the Israelite community, there is a belief that there were other people there with Adam as well. Okay, so this is also something that on the Jewish side is believed, but we see how far they go with it. They go as far to say that, look, everyone else, nah, they weren't of Adam. Everyone else is not of Adam. Only the Jews are. Only the Jews are of Adam. Okay, only the Jews are of Adam. So what they have done is they have moved out everyone else, including so-called black people, from being from Adam. They just completely separated them. It was like, nah, you guys come from those other people that were here before Adam. You guys come from those other people. Okay. And then they just walk that all the way down. Okay. But here's where another problem comes in, is because when we look at, because they say that, well, you guys have the curse of Ham. Well, Ham descends from Adam. Ham descends from Adam. Okay. When you read the Torah, when you read Genesis, I'm going through Genesis right now. Ham descends from Adam. Okay. He's one of the sons of Noah. Noah descends from Adam. So they've separated us out. And then now they're saying, well, yeah, only Jewish people come from Adam. Okay. You guys come from those other people. We come from Adam. Okay. So yeah, now that's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic because you're trying to say that we have no association with the language, we have no association with the customs, we have no association with anything. All right. So again, when we say that they're not the people, I mean, they have a claim to say that we're being anti-Semitic towards them. They have a bit of a claim of it because we're trying to say that, man, you guys' language is made up, blah blah blah. Just like how they say the Lashon Kodash is made up. You know, we talk about their modern Hebrew and the Yiddish and how it's Germanic and all that. Like we definitely do all of that. Okay. But because we try to deal with the information, okay, we deal with the information. We don't deal with feelings. We deal with information. And again, that's what we need to start doing as the people of the book. Let's start dealing with the information as we fight this war with them. Because this is a war. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude there. You guys see the link is in the chat if you guys want to come in, join the discussion. Again, just keep it clean, no foul language, disrespect or name calling. If you guys want to join. If not, I'll give it a few minutes and then we'll get ready to close it out. All right. Just want you to know that once again, I believe what is that? February 21st. February 21st. Debate Talk for You will be back on Blog Talk Radio. Okay, so I will be making his return back on Blog Talk Radio. Make sure you guys check out the Clubhouse room, DT4U World. One of our co-hosts, Sister Joy, hosted her first room the other night. So make sure you guys go check that out. It is on replay. We'll definitely try to get it up here on the YouTube side as well. We'll try to get the audio off of there and then go ahead and throw it up on YouTube for you guys so you guys can have it here as well in the event that you guys don't use Clubhouse. Okay, so make sure you guys go check that out as well. DebateTalkForYou.com. It's nearing its completion. So there will be a website for Debate Talk for You where you guys can go and review all of the past debates, dialogues, lessons that were brought on here, etc., etc. Okay. And also on February 19th, I will, on episode 46, I will be having Elder Mike Holloway coming in. We're going to be discussing the parallels of biblical conduct. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. Okay, it's actually a conversation I've been wanting to have for a while, with him or just someone of that community. So I'm looking forward to that great build and to that great dialogue. And it's almost set in stone. I'll go ahead and say it now. It's almost set in stone, but we will also Elder Mike Holloway and Zadok, a veteran here on Debate Talk for You. They're in the process of getting their dialogue set up, and it looked like that may happen the very next day on February the 20th. So Mike Holloway might be doing a double header here on Debate Talk for You. So as I get that finalized, again, you know, the shows will be pre-scheduled, so you guys will know when it's up and coming. So be sure you follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow, like the Facebook page, the Twitter account. Make sure you follow the Clubhouse room, become a member of DT4U World, and make sure you stay up to date again to what goes on here on Debate Talk for You. All right. Yeah, how about Shem Yao Shaba Rakatha? All right, yeah, man, definitely. All praises to the Most High for allowing this information to come out. All right, and I'm glad they didn't try to shut down the stream. You know, I'm glad they didn't do that yet. That's why, again, when we deal with a topic like this, we got to stick to the information. We can't get in our emotions, because the minute we get in our emotions, that is when they're gonna be like, oh yeah, not shut them down. So that's why, again, you got to come with guns blazing, but you got to do it in a way where it's tactful, and they see the information, and they can go argue the information if they want. They're free to do that. Okay, we scrutinize and argue the information all the time that comes from them, so they have the right to do that if they choose to do so. But let them deal with the information and not with you personally. All right. All right. So with that being said, y'all, let me go ahead and get ready to sign off. You guys can go ahead, definitely leave your comments in the comment section once the video is done streaming. You guys can go back and listen to it. Again, I will be, once we hit episode 50, I will be stepping down. So be sure you guys just continue to tune in as I continue to make the march towards that. All right. I have nothing further to say except may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. I bid you all a farewell. And let me leave y'all with some music real quick. Let me leave y'all with some music. Which one did I play last time? I think it was this one. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. So may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. I bid you all a farewell and Shabbat Shalom.